Hey team, welcome back to Starcom, the unknown sector. Last time about, the Kiernan decided to use me as a Trojan condom and failed at banging the kitty people out because I took it personally and I started blasting with the kitty people. And now we're in some kind of war with them, which is fine because I took it personally, like I said. But here we are to try 8 churlite. Need the etherine and adamantium as well. Let's take our Tor. The Alethea doesn't do us much good. I think my best trading resource, though, is going to be... My best selling resource is definitely going to be 69, and I only have 4. And I need to get this to 15? Sheesh. That's gonna be a bit. They buy it at a -1, but I don't want to sell... I don't want to sell uranium for copper. That seems silly. Oh, hi. You're adorable. He thought he was people. Definitely not buying churlites or iridium from them. Get that adamantine out of the way. Not even close to enough. Yeah, so we go for the adamantine. Where we can. Come up here to our uranium mine real quick. I assume at some point it'll run out of uranium. Could be wrong on that. Yeah, I'm assuming it's just endless. $14 more spots to land on before we are set for another level up. I almost have to assume something is in this cloud here. the carrier is faster than the fighters. Seems legit. Skimming a few hundred kilometers below the upper cloud layers, sensors detect the source of the anomaly reading. A pocket of rare ethylene gas has been pushed up from the volatile depths. Vernos, Vernos. Ship debris field. This is a dangerous region. There's a large debris field nearby from the remains of the last Kiernan War. We've attempted to clear it, but they have recently sowed the region with sleeper mines. What are sleeper mines? Powerful bombs that are covered in reinforced shell. Before they are activated, they are very difficult to destroy. After they are activated, it's usually too late. What you gonna do, little bitches? How are they trying to attack? There's a dramatic shit show going on around these here parts. Nothing relevant. Cleaning out the minefield, I guess. How are we making out on this cleanup effort? Command hub of this Nimian base ship is more or less intact. Far from the large blast hole exposing half the bridge to space, the remains of several of our crew remain at their post in punctured vacuum suits. The blast damage that penetrated the hull is inconsistent with any Kiernan weapons I've seen. Most of the ship's sensitive logs have been purged by the clever failsafe system, although the valuable command core's resources are intact. One crew of the command ship apparently kept a personal journal on his persons. Most of the entries are complaints typical of those in any military hierarchy, interspersed by love poems about someone named Hylax. One late entry seems unusual. Returning from the Pale Iris system to be so close to our homeworld, not to be able to see my dear Hylax was disappointing. But Anax Rylan insisted we could not risk a visit. He is convinced someone is revealing our movements to the Kiernan, and trusts only those he's known since the barracks. So he took the mysterious crate there and erased our logs. I sorely need my Hylax. By the frigid pools of air, her furry embrace warms me. Her gentle purr beckons across the void. It is difficult to evaluate art across culture, let alone species, but in my expert opinion, this poetry is bad. And I would agree with you, good sir. That was a painful read. I'm teasing these mines so hard. Owie. Or if the mines just respawn. I'm thinking the mines just respawn. At least that's what I'm gathering here. So we will actually, I guess we need to let our shields recharge. A lot of damage, just irrelevant drivel. Problem is I don't want to run into a mine at yay miles an hour. If you know what I mean. Yeah, I didn't figure any of these were going to give me anything useful. At some point you gotta just kind of figure, right? Alright, but we did get 2 doodads. Electronic tool that vibrates at different frequencies. Oh my. Possibly a tuning fork designed for certain radio frequencies. Several layers of titanium aluminum composite. This seems to be a fragment of Kiernan armor, fairly high tensile strength, but also designed to allow certain radio frequencies to penetrate. This Kiernan ship crashed here quite recently. So recently, no one had a chance to recover the deceased pilot. He survived long enough to destroy the technically valuable components before perishing from his injuries. The Kiernan are horned bipeds whose antlers allow them to communicate silently across vast, possibly even planetary distances. Kiernan are bipedglets with elaborate antler-like structures on their heads. While these may have originally been for defense, evolution has repurposed them to a literal antenna. It is likely the Kiernan can both perceive and transmit EM signals, allowing for telepathy-like communication. No, we cleared out the field as much as possible. I do believe. Oh, hi. Very nice, very nice. Alright, so we will say mining is done with that region. Guess we'll go down to the brown dwarf. I still feel like there's probably something in this cloud for obvious reasons. Because, you know, it's a giant cloud that's obvious. The hell did I miss there? Another dispatch device? Drinking my coffee, not paying attention. The dispatch databanks have completely degraded to lack of shielding from its drive. You know what? Don't even need to do that anymore. I can just blast them. We blasting, boys. And then I gotta go to the Nimian homeworld. Brown dwarf is just at the lower bound of hydrogen fusion, putting it at the perfect temperature to study certain aspects of stellar evolution. Large radio telescope fills most of the natural crater on the otherwise dull planetoid. The facility is unprotected, perhaps relying on its obscurity for safety. Inside, the team finds several large databanks of computers, analyzing the telescope's data. Ensign Gleese explains the data is protected with a quantum cryptographic system tied to a natural entropy from background radiation. This system of encoding uses quantum entanglement designed to detect attempts at decryption. Okay. Should I wait? Should I do? Should I wait? Should I do? That's not bad. Success! Most of the data is genuine noise, which Ensign Gleese says explains the difficulty. But there are several snippets which hint this observatory was not studying natural processes. Fragment 1, Nimian dialect. While visiting my sister at the ministry, brief, I think my pilot suspects something. Fragment 2, Nimian dialect. Completed search in all areas of our side of the risk-giving Kiernan claim of provocation. Fragment 3, Amir dialect. Scroll worms are late with payment. No one visits here but these Pikyak. Starcom to the Alethea, Seleno to the Alethea. If you receive this message, unknown hostile vessels return at once. Nimian, buried at a point 60 leaps toward the magnetic North Pole from the inlet of the largest nitrogen lake. The Vought still have not located key at Gateway. Crucible in orbit. Proceed to arcology. Buried 60 leaps towards magnetic North Pole from the inlet of the largest nitrogen lake. I don't know what the hell that means. Nitrogen lake. Nitrogen lake. Meh. What can you do if you don't know you don't know? Alright, another planet down, or another sector down. Now we gotta do something at the Nimian homeworld? Question mark? Maybe? Burst relay. Another burst relay. It's hard to tell how old these messages are, since there's no way to acknowledge receiving these relays and must be designed just to broadcast until their chirolite decays, which would be a very long time. This relay is malfunctioning. It is designed to overwrite its receiver telemetry when a message arrives, but failed to do so. I've noted the location where the message came from. The relay is malfunctioning. It is designed to overwrite... Just read that, what the hell? The recoverable fragments of the message translate as Day 173 would not have survived this long without the sand brains leaving food, and entrance is barely visible to the west. Tough little shit. Took those to the face. I'll take more of them. I need that chirolite. I need another reactor. I don't know if I technically need it, but I want it. Interesting. Haven't seen y'all in a while. Don't know why I'm seeing y'all now. Century-old wreck lies smashed on the rocky desert floor. A clean hole lasered through its side. Most valuable resources have been roughly stripped, but the ship's titanium backbone joist is largely intact. Looks like a rushed smash and grab, weapons crippled, when the boarders took the valuable resources and launched it towards the planet, probably hoping it would break up on entry and hide the evidence. Remember when those destroyers were a pain in my ass? How the turns have tabled. Oh, how the turns have tabled. Tactical analysis confirms these are the original Red Raider drones we encountered soon after arriving. Not so much of a match for the Atlas now. Yeah. Shit, not so much a match for the fighters. From the Atlas. There are some highly organized bubbles of ozone in the upper layers that the anomaly scanner categorizes as borderline life. Neat. The planet has numerous fallen empire arcologies across its surface. From the lander's approach, it is clear that many of them are actively being searched, presumably by the devout. Following the same path through the structure as the looted city, the team finds an identical chamber. This one, however, with a single artifact sitting incongruously within it. A sphere with an adamant inlay and a housing made from jade-like material. Seen an image of this somewhere. I think the records the Alethea uncovered. Captain Dulcin might recognize it. Sphere has a large network of connections at the 50 picometer scale. Probably some kind of computer. Well, alright then. That was, something. Just playing cleanup, man. At this point. The atmosphere of this planet is thick with fine particles, likely from mass processing of ore, likely to feed this automated factory. It is large, but otherwise identical to the one producing the Red Raider drones the team shut down earlier. This one has deactivated on its own, probably from exhausting the nearby ore supply. There's nothing of value to recover, and the technology is the same. Why would you build an inferior weapon when you had the designs and resources for a better one? Ensign Glees does note one curious fact. When this factory stopped, it was producing both the original Red Raiders and the more advanced models at the same time. That is a weird choice. The surface of this planet is close to the melting point of lead, pushing envirosuits to the limit. The team rushes to investigate the anomaly, a compact burst relay antenna designed to retransmit messages between some distant source and a nearby location. The last few messages it sent and received are already degrading. This relay is operating at the edge of its thermal limits, likely by design. Any message will be automatically erased with the ambient temperature within a few months, even if the system fails. Rot 228 adapted to the modified design too quickly. Credible threat. Revert to design. 3811 remaining. Standby auto defense. That relay won't last long in the environment, and it can't have been there for more than a year, 2 tops. So you're saying there's something in this cloud that I should find? I'm not quite sure where that one's going. I'm usually pretty good at deciphering these. Yeah, I'm thinking they don't got a chance. An abandoned mining vessel sits in a local miasma of highly corrosive gas. Pretty sure I've seen this before, too. I'll take the ethylene. And always use more of that. The impressive decay of the fallen Empire architecture never ceases to amaze, although at this point it is becoming less and less illuminating. Vast, white, and almost devoid of distinguishing features, the team could spend decades exploring the catacombs. This example at least has recently been the site of some organized encampment. Small cache of weapon systems suggest a possible temporary military staging area. Part of a dreadnought that has thawed out of the ice due to a fluctuation in this planet's orbit. Signs point to it having been critically damaged in some battle centuries ago. Most of the valuable resources were salvaged soon after, but the lander's penetrating radar shows some valuable neutronium that was missed. Looks like there may be additional fragments buried in the nearby ice field. Based on Ensign Cutler's observation, the team melts through several dozen meters of ice where additional scraps are uncovered. Yeah, I'll take it. Neutronium. We need what? Neutronium? No, we need adamantium and etherine, not neutronium. Oh, look, it's the Kiernan. They think they're people. Yeah, I wasn't trying to talk to you. I was trying to land on the planet. That was a more pressing concern to me. The trees act as both a data network and a fabrication system. They are capable of growing not only food and medicine, but complex objects as well. The lush planet is home to several Kiernan colonies. The Kiernan appear to live in widely dispersed settlements. Their technology is heavily based on some very interesting bioengineered trees. The team is unable to locate any Kiernan. A nearby settlement shows signs of having evacuated just prior to their arrival. Not like I'm gonna eat you. I mean, I might. You think Kiernan are kind of like cows? That's a big boy. I was wondering if the Nimian were going to get bigger ships. Don't ram into my shield, you dumbass. Well, all right then. Another Kiernan forest world. The colony team lands near is completely evacuated. This planet has experienced an environmental catastrophe. There are too many variables here to determine a root cause, no pun intended. Based on the dendrochronology, the tree network that was the foundation of the ecosystem died very recently. Certainly within the last year. Most other plants and animals soon followed. That would be the deadwood thing, wouldn't it? Seems like it anyway. If we're talking about plants. Yeah, let's come over here real quick. We'll come over here. This antiquated frigate used fission impulse thrust to propel itself through space. Fortunately, whatever caused its crew to abandon ship wasn't a lack of fuel. Another Arbor apocalypse, this one even more recent. There are signs that the Kiernan population evacuated from the planet with only partial success. A prion infection has infected these trees, causing the botanical equivalent of neural degeneration. $200. We can do it. Let's go. Well, only 39 more, I should say. Oh, look. It thinks it's people's. How adorable. Alright, and now let's travel all the way down yonder. Yeah, need to get that reactor in there, just so I don't have the energy fluctuations for trying to drive and recharge. I'll strip out some engines. Well, no, I don't want to strip out some engines. I don't think I want to strip out some engines. Maybe I'll just leave it how it is. Initial sensor reading points to an abnormal resource concentration for this dry canyon. Instead, the team finds an old, small vessel, its literal skeleton crew still at its stations. The ship's databanks are all completely blank. Even the automated system's executive functions have been erased. But the captain's station is a makeshift log written on a kind of velium. It's quite faded. Well, Lieutenant Triton does their best. Assuming this log was made here, I've extrapolated the location of their last warp and added it to the nav map. After jump from, analysis of ice quantum, lost life support, and navigation, dead reckoned warp from N vector. I'll pretend that means something. Oof, there's a portal here. I do have what? The pyramid on this world is disappearing into a thick jungle and blends in well with the low volcanic mountains that surround it. It also shows signs of an orderly evacuation. Team searches for a nearby observation point in hopes of recovering some chirolite without success. But several kilometers west of the structure, Lieutenant Kepler spots another overgrown structure. Lieutenant Pirks sets the lander down. Soon after approaching the ruins, they are approached by what at first glance appears to be a devout. who beckons them. While Lieutenant Triton observes, they lack the ritual markings, so the team warily follow the alien inside a cave-like dwelling within a buried Empire structure. Others of the same species are present. Lieutenant Triton erects a holofeed to the Atlas. Welcome, alien beings. It's been over 3 generations since visitors have come. We are out of practice in the art of hospitality. As you can see, we are not overly encumbered with summoned objects, but still retain the wisdom of our ancestors, which we will gladly share. Who are you? Are you devout or heretic? Your speaking enchantment is difficult for me to understand. I believe you refer to the believers and the academics. This distinction did not exist when we left. We only learned of it from later visitors. Our ancestors saw the cracks forming in the Empire. It was clear to them that the magic would soon be lost. Those who still depended on it would die. They unlearned their spells and relearned new ones. You look a lot like the devout. Yeah, okay, I get it. The dude looks like the devout. Why the hell would I ask that same question? Or why the hell would I make that same statement? And the heretics, I assume. Yeah, he has a point. While the Empire called many kinds its children, ours were the heirs of magical practice. There was no exclusion. Any could be found in any. When we left, we had tusk-faced, fur-fighter, and many more. But our kind preferred the magical studies by custom. If you've abandoned magic, what wisdom do you offer? There is much to know besides the fickle magic of the Empire. We can teach you the patiently learned knowledge of the heavens, the subtleties of life, or the patterns of nature. That is the custom of our hospitality. Knowledge of the heavens, subtleties of life, patterns of nature, observation. Let's go. Patience is the most important part of observation, and apparently they learned a lot of patience sitting in the jungle for a century or two. The tutelage is intense and brief. Surprisingly, it consists mostly of guided meditation. But the results speak for themselves. After returning, their Starcom aptitude protocol scores are significantly improved. Well, we found the sand brains, I think they were called. Didn't even press that button. Where's our nearest jump gate at? There. Okay. That's fine. Since I don't particularly feel the desire to float all the way back down here, let's see where this leads. Alright, so everything comes back to this place. From what I'm gathering. Oof, was not in time to help. Got a cheer light out the deal. Sorry I couldn't save your battlecruiser. This is a long slide. Another series of dry cannons. Surface of this planet is marked with irregular granite intrusions. Ore deposits, give me that iridium. Damn it. Nope. Another forest world. No interaction. Planet. It appears this civilization acquired a technology to remove the toxins quickly. Unfortunately, one of the foundational ecosystems had already evolved to use the pollutants in its metabolism. It could not readapt quickly enough. The planet experienced a total ecological collapse centuries ago. Its industries were heavily dependent on processes that released a lot of toxic pollutants into the atmosphere. But the ecological collapse hadn't happened very suddenly. Something down there at the yellow star, but that's okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, jump on home, and take a break here. So y'all stay safe out there, have a good one, and we'll be back for more shenanigans in a bit.